look at this reality, we try to be right all the time. How many times have you gotten like sick and you're like, oh, maybe your stomach hurts. Well, it must have been the chicken I ate at lunch, right? Like we don't like go into our body and go, hey, body, what's really going on here? It could be just like you're in flight mode because of this email, right? You're in flight mode because you're trying to rush or whatever it is. And it had nothing to do with the food at all. And then now you're like on a track to see where you have to take this chicken or this herb out from like your whole diet. I'm allergic to garlic. It gave me a headache once, right?
That's so true.
It's so real.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jeneth Lyanca.
And I'm Lyanca.
And this is the Hustle Morning Show. We're going to talk about really bringing in the all of you.
A lot of us have been taught to kind of really go outside of ourselves looking for answers when really what's required of us or could be required of us could be just really sitting and being in stillness. And hearing our own divine guidance.
Just a couple of reminders. If you are on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the bell. And I hope you get our notifications and join us every Tuesday and Thursday here.
That's right. That's how we tell the algorithm that we want more of this type of change and greatness for the world. What I am saying is that some of the ideas that we put forth here, we have a lot of fun, but we do handle some really big fun topics, and, really deep topics and a lot of ascension information. And I feel like if we're going to foster in this new earth, then this is how we let the algorithm know that we're all about that game. So join us for the movement as well.
I've been trying to put some cheeky writing in some of the newsletters lately, so I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Been kind of finding my writing flair once again.
Good. I love that. I love that you have that for us. It's like so juicy to read your newsletters or like what you send over to me sometimes. And I'm like, ooh, she's in a flair.
I know. I'm like, time for another book. It's coming through. Gonna have to do with something in dragons. And talking about dragons, I've got some morning brew with Woo. I've made it further along in the Fourth Wing, which is a novel, and it is a dragon novel. I recommend it to everyone. I've put it in the Amazon shop. So if you see the newsletter and you see this orange little button that says Amazon shop, you can see some of our recommendations. But this book, oh my gosh, is blowing my mind because it just feels like if I was a dragon, I would be like some of these dragons. They're just kind and they're guardians. And with this like master dragon, she's like sweeps in. And to be honest, I'm beginning to feel like everything that comes to me is for me. So I believe that this is also for some information. And so all I have to say is if you're called to some of my excitement around this, please check out this book. It's called Fourth Wing. It's really like the Harry Potter of dragons. So they've got magic in there.
I love magic.
It's like I really feel like this is like me, seeing some of the magic that happens in the world, but there's some magic in there where people can time jump, like they can freeze people and then jump.
Nice.
Like everyone has different skills and oh my goodness, it's all magical. And so if you're a novel reader like me, I recommend this. And that's my little tip for Morning Brew with Woo.
Alrighty, everyone, and today's Mystic Space Weather News. Today we have some minor G-Class 1 magnetic geomagnetic storms are possible on the 23rd, when another CME, so that's a coronal mass ejection, might deliver a glancing blow to Earth's magnetic field. So remember, we had that happen last on the 14th. We had a big one in April. And then last year, during this time, because we are in a solar peak, we had those Mother's Day big solar geomagnetic storms is the word I'm looking for. And so that caused a lot of disruption. And it also did change a little bit of our geomagnetic or our magnetosphere. And so when you have that shift in the magnetosphere, where people are really wanting to watch those scientists are watching those poles. So we want to make sure that if you're feeling kind of off kilter as far as like your due north, it might be because the due north is kind of a little bit shifted right now on Earth. You could definitely take a look at it. There's a lot of different information and stuff. And I always stress to everyone, first go with the science and then to kind of feel your way of what feels light for you. And that might be the truth. And if something feels heavy, then you're like, that's not really feeling like it's driving. And this is good pro tip for everything, right? If it feels kind of heavy and it's not landing, it's not for you. It's not your truth. So just, bless it and move on. And what we also have for Mystic Space Weather News is just to remember to give yourself grace. Because when everything is moving this fast in the 2 peaks that we have in this solar cycle, and I'm going to keep saying this because it's just this year, right? Please just remember the things I always say. Drink water, get grounded, go outside, get connection. That's another one I don't always bring up enough, but sometimes we do have to have just a little bit of, I don't even care if you just go and like sit and explore and enjoy the birds, right? Whatever it is, but there is a connection that we need to feel here while we're on Earth and everything is moving. And sometimes just being able to remind our human selves and our biological selves that we're also part of this oneness helps to bring us back into kilter. And then finally, give yourself grace. Don't make yourself wrong for doing that little bit of extra sleeping. Don't make yourself wrong for being all frantic. Yeah. And that's what I got for today's Mystic Space Weather News.
I want you to kind of play with some of the questions in your heart, because this is where this conversation will go. What is it that you know about you that kind of excites yourself, but you're keeping distant from who you actually are? And I just want to play with this just for a minute, because I was listening to a Gaia presentation on ED. It's like extra dimensionals. I think that's almost like multidimensionals, but I'm not sure there's a definitive difference.
Okay.
And one of the people in this was Adam Apollo, who I am like currently obsessed with. Yes. I go through my phases with
and again, that's why we love you, and that's why you booked it.
I have these like boy crushes, the ascended boy crushes.
I think you have some women ones too. But anyway, that's why you booked it for the show too. So that'll be a great show when we get that person. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just learning about him, so we will have a great conversation. What I wanted to say about it was he brought up something like, if you have a symbol in your life that you see or you think about, or you just find yourself doodling on a regular basis, he was saying, do you think that might be something that you try to remember from a past life, or a life between lives?
Yes. Right? I feel like it's your subconscious trying to communicate with you. Right. And those who know me know I'm always talking about doing your writing, even if it does your journaling, even if it's just scribbles. Y'all heard me say that so many times. And that is because your subconscious is trying to communicate. And sometimes we use sacred geometry in order to bypass our subconscious.
Yeah. And the other thing that he brought in was this idea that, if you're in love with something, or you think that something is true and you just think it's your imagination, he's like, what if you would just take out that I think it was my imagination part of that narrative, so that you stop keeping yourself separate to what you actually know that you are. And I've been really playing with that and what that means for me, because clearly I have some this attraction that I notice in my life, from colors to symbols to animals. And I really feel like that introspection. I really feel like that is our way of knowing more of us beyond this physical reality.
Yes, well said. And it's so funny that we stumble on words, because a lot of times this stuff comes streamed, and I know that message just comes streamed for you because it's so timely. And also because, and I keep saying this too, there are a lot more messages and beings of light that want to communicate, then there are people willing to channel, really.
To raise your hand and say, yes, I'm a channel.
Yes. Even for ourselves. Isn't that kind of crazy? Your divine guidance wants to communicate with you. And sometimes we are not even willing to raise our hands and give ourselves the space to do your channeled writing, or to sit down and just journal what's coming through. Or I always come back to this. Abraham Hicks used her nose when she first started channeling. And if you're not familiar with Abraham Hicks, she's a really divine master channel. She gives speeches all the time. She channels Hicks, Abraham Hicks. And so it's Esther Hicks that channels Abraham Hicks. And so basically, the whole premise is that it started off where she's like doing this with her nose, right?
Yeah.
And so basically what it was doing was letting her know that this was coming through. And so then, you can start with your handwriting, then you can start doing your glyphs if you get sacred geometry that's coming true. Anyway, my point being is that we just need to start listening and raising our own hands for our own selves so that we get more discernment.
Yeah.
Yay.
Again, we talked about clearing the noise. And one of the biggest modules in that is acknowledgement of yourself.
Exactly.
Like really stop using these separation words between I think.
Yeah. I was teasing her because she loves to say something and then she'll joke at the end. And I'm like, you just discredited everything you just said. I do that too. I did a lot.
But I'm going to start a dollar jar and stop it.
Everything that doesn't allow us to understand that everything happens in divine timing as it's supposed to be, however it is, and how we show up and how we react to things is how we are really truly ascending on earth. Anything that doesn't allow you just to have that energy, anything that is holding you back from feeling the love that surrounds that, we destroy and uncreate.
Yes.
And take a breath.
Yes.
Thank you. Monday we have Courtney Levins. She is so cool. She's one of like the best clairvoyants, and she can zero in very quickly. So basically, she can talk with your ascended masters. She can help you get divine guidance. She also does a lot of stuff around businesses, and she really helped us do some stuff in our business because she gave us some really good advice. And she's like, guys, ladies, you guys are going to go so fast. She was like, so right now, just take your time and build out your systems. And we really did. So that was really cool. And then also we have Teresa Greco. She brings in Reiki. And what's really cool is that Reiki has been around the world for eons, right? So, and we have it in our ancestry, we have it in our ancient history, but I don't really ever do Reiki. Like lots of people do, lots of people understand it. They use their energy of their hands, but, and of course the energy through the attunements, but I really want to know, like, how can I bring that into my regular life and just not have it be some esoterical word that's floating out there. And, we all have our different tools. And the reason why we always bring in different types of speakers is so that we can feel what's light for us. Remember, I was talking about that earlier. Is like sometimes if it doesn't feel light for you, if it feels heavy, then that's just not your truth. And then sometimes you can hear a different speaker talk about the exact same topics, right? Like I talk on Akashic Records, and there are a lot of people talking Akashic Records, but you may not receive from me, and you may receive from someone else. We're all different facets of this collective experience. And so that's the reason why we bring up tons of different speakers. And then on Tuesday, we have Fallon Jordan will be back with us. That's Wednesday. Fallon Jordan will be back with us, and she talks about healing from neurological disorders or experiences. Also, she talks about how to do this naturally. And then we have Christine Bolden. She's talking about the channeling the power of receiving. She's a really, really cool channel. If you've ever heard her work, if you haven't heard her work, I highly recommend it. You can see some stuff on YouTube, or you could show up next Wednesday when she'll be on at 10:30 Pacific. And then finally we have Tarek Beebe, and I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of lineup.
It's cool.
So that way you can know what you're going to come experience. And so Tarek talks about the infinity healings to awaken your connection to the force. So basically his work, whenever he comes on and does an interview, Jeneth always laughs at me because I cry. It is so powerful. And it comes from a place that you could just feel the love. Like he really does a lot more of the energy work, kind of like the clearings that we do. But he gets so centered that you can feel the love just emanating from it. And also, he really stands for a lot of this masculine energies. I mean, you do, yes, we have a lot of women that come on, and women tend to be the ones that would be spiritual, right? They usually head up the house and get people to head up the house in the spirituality sense, that like, oh, everybody's got to go to church, right? But the masculine is really what's being asked of us as well. And so he really holds a space for men. And I really think that's really cool. So join us for that fun conversation. And I'm just giving you a little bit of the lineup, just a little bit of teaser here, but really it's going to be a speaker at, one after another, about an hour long with 15-minute breaks in between. And we get started at 11 a.m. Pacific. What are you most looking forward to?
You guys, we're also talking on Thursday about our new live event that's happening in November. And we'll share a little bit about the upgrades with Mystique. And so I'm a little excited about that, but I'm always excited about Karen, Tobias.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of new blood. I don't have a blood word today.
New blood. Okay, cool.
Great. But yeah, that's with that said, let's go ahead and play a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
You want me to start? All right. So for those of you that don't know me that well, I do this work. It's called Awesomeness. It came through me during an event that I was with, a person that literally almost felt like they walked through my body, and then I had this thing. And I activate it by slowly just sensing my wrists. And then sometimes we found that it also moves then through your hands. And maybe now you can start sensing it. It just kind of started up. It's kind of this rhythm, this thrum, this energy that's really beyond our senses. And with this activation, I then go into, it's called Awesomeness. And we found that when I started channeling or Metis, my Arcturian channel, that then this was actually the word that was trying to be translated to me, but I was looking for an actual English word for it. So it's called Awesomeness, but or Metis is my Arcturian channel that came through, and that's how this has all begun.
Awesome.
So with this fifth dimensional space, I want you just to go ahead and just tap into the frequency, the energy, and I want you to look for some introspection of what is it next that you are asking for, that you wish would change, that is somewhere between I hope that and I'm having that. What is that for you? And maybe it's a frequency or an element or even like a lacking thought. It could as a possibility. What is it from having it right now in the now moment, that collapse, and feeling this other feeling that I wish I had it?
So the gap there.
The gap.
Okay.
This is the gap, apparently. So I want you just to kind of bring up your gap. I want you to sense the energy of
my gap is saying, I want to stay here.
Interesting. So everywhere where your gap is like holding on and it's afraid to get uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's like, I want to protect you.
Yeah.
It's a false belief.
Yeah. All that is, would you start to just let little vibrant frequencies go from that essence. Bye-bye. Adios. Hasta luego. Arrivederci. Okay. Okay, now start to move into this true frequency of really embodying and getting really uncomfortable with that wish. And let it be playful.
You mean like if
Go ahead.
like, let's say I wanted to show up more and do lives on Instagram, the way like Jen Gottlieb does, right? She does her live every morning with like,
Boy, here
no
we
makeup.
go again.
Yeah, no makeup. And I have a gap between that
Yes.
for whatever reason.
Okay.
And maybe
Who wants to do some processing with Lyanca today?
And maybe it doesn't have to look like that, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give an example.
But yeah, no, it's good. So what if you were to do that, what would be wrong about it?
I was like, all my features on full display because she does
So,
it.
and then what's wrong with your features?
Oh, good job. I don't know. I was like, I just picture my skin being all like different colors and, you know, pre-makeup because she does them while she's getting ready. Of course, she looks gorgeous, but I mean, there's ways around that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything that brings up that you can't show your flaws, even if they're visual, would you store in?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and how many of you have this thing where you've got to be a certain way to even feel like you can show up, right? You've got to be right in the head. You've got to look right.
Yeah.
Just for anyone and anything in your life. And everywhere where you've been conditioned through the collective for this perfectionism.
Yes.
Would you destroy everything? Ooh, wow. Ooh, that's
and that starts like at teenage years,
really running on me.
Man.
I mean, look, clearly there is judgment in this world, right? But we don't have to feel the judgment, but we can be aware that judgment would happen, and maybe that would be another choice or reason.
Yeah.
Right? For anybody to make those kind of choices. What else comes up for you with these like blocks or these gaps? Dana says, I'm actually changing what I'm asking for. I've been realizing that I have everything I need to do what I choose. Yeah.
And so do I.
Yeah.
I could choose to show up live.
I know.
I mean, heck, we got filters. I'm just kidding.
And we're going to use them.
And we will, yes. The truth is that it has nothing to do with what my skin looks like. It has everything to do with me, how I feel like I have to show up a certain way all the time. And that's just deep rooted. And instead of saying that's just deep rooted about me, I'm willing to change that. And maybe it doesn't even have to look that way. Maybe I'm willing to show up in a different way that's more like me, right? More my style. I don't have to do it Jen Gottlieb style, right? Whatever that looks like. But instead, I shut the whole thing down and am unwilling to look at any possibilities. And I'm just using this cheesy little example as an example. But there could be other ways in which I'm doing the same practice and then thus sabotaging my success, my potential, my potentialities in the world, right? And then that tells the universe I'm not ready for the quantum leaps that I want.
Because you can't even show up raw. Except you just are right now. Right?
Oh my God, everything that is will let me destroy. Well, anyone else that can relate to anywhere.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for your comments, you guys. Sorry, I got your names mixed up. Ooh.
I just trying and create.
One of the questions you can ask here and with this frequency is show me my blocks and assist me in removing them. I think that's a really good point that I was making.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what they are, if you don't know what that gap is, then you can be like, okay, what's next? And oh my gosh, that reminds me of that night that I was just laying there and they showed me the 80s Tupperware.
Okay.
And
remind me.
Right.
Remind us.
And so basically I was just like in kind of an intermediate state, but somewhere between alpha and deeper. And I had my eyes closed in a meditation. And I was like, universe, if there's something that you need me to be aware of. Can you show me now?
Yeah.
And it showed me this like 80s Tupperware.
That's so random.
And then, I mean,
and not random.
And then the next thing I knew, I was like in this classroom when I was in 5th or 6th grade, and I really, really had to pee, but I was afraid to ask the teacher.
Yeah.
Plus, I also had this conclusion that I'm a good student and good students don't ask to go to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
And it just brought up all these things that, wow, it's like, well, the point is, are you asking for what you actually want and what you actually need?
Or are you letting a belief system, whether you think it's good or bad, operate?
Well, that
run the program.
Right.
Golly.
Yeah. So you can just go into this like frequency of this multi-dimensional thing and just go, show me. And then something will show you. I love doing that. You can also go, hey, universe, show me something beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
Show me something great today.
Yeah.
Show it to me.
And you will see beautiful things. It's so fun. It is so fun how the universe responds. One of the things that is coming up as a theme, and y'all have heard me talk about that a lot, words that might be a theme. You talked about it, the different symbols that might come in threes. If they're coming in threes, I've heard many a times, that's for you for sure. Listen, pay attention, do whatever it's asking. But then also, if I start seeing words, like I've been seeing the word blueprint as a theme, but the other thing that I've been seeing as a theme is the idea that we really need to connect. Like I keep hearing the word nature, telling me everybody needs to get out in nature, like, and just put our feet in the nature, like take our shoes off, put our feet in the ground,
right,
and actually do a little bit of grounding work. But how many times do we hear all of these things and we don't do it? When you could be listening to this right now and I haven't done that in a long time. Neither am I going to go outside and do it. But your divine guidance is telling you, no, do this. I'm telling you, it's going to balance your body and it's going to make you healthier, whatever it is, right? But we ignore it.
Yeah.
Everything that is, we destroy and create.
Please. Yes, please.
And take a breath. Good. Awesome.
Jeez.
Be love on purpose.
I love it.
Be. And that's another thing too, is about being it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, how many times do we say that in every single call?
Yeah.
Like really be this and acknowledge it. And let's go on an adventure together.
Sure.
Do you want to talk a little bit? So with this, I feel that, this was gifted to me, this frequency. And what I know about it is that you can catch it. And so if you would let that in, I would actually like to gift this to more of us so that we can do like more of this transmuting these gaps or these blocks, please. Let's just do that for a second. Just a second.
Anywhere where you feel like this isn't for you, that it's for everyone else. Everyone else can receive it. I don't get gifts, or my gifts can't come online. Anything is anywhere around that. And that you keep it in place just to prove you're right. We destroy and create that, please. And take a deep breath. Yes. And what we're doing here, in case you don't know this work, is we bring up questions. And that's the other thing that I was going to say is this is another big theme. You can ask the universe, you can ask your guides, please help me formulate the questions. Because what I'm getting every time I'm channeling is, well, first of all, I got, what's your question? Because they know me, right? And they know when I am kind of just flipping along. But what they really are trying to explain here is, when they ask me that, is because when I was listening to a training like yesterday, it was basically, the better your questions, the better that you're going to get the information. And this is because we have free will. So as things are kind of locked in place, and because we've had those veils in the past, and what was available for humanity is changing, However, it is very imperative that we come and formulate our questions. Now, I know that's a tall ask sometimes because you're like, I don't know what I need and I don't know what I don't know. So the beauty of it is that you can stop and say, okay, universe, guides, my masters, teachers, and loved ones, show me my questions. And you may get them. I mean, you're going to get them because anytime you ask, you'll always receive. So be willing to, when you hear those little odd questions come into your head, keep that, I always say, keep that pen and paper next to you and just journal it down or open up your phone recorder and just record it so that when you sit down to do your channeling, when you sit down to do your connection, you can ask better questions. Jeneth is a really good, she's really good at an example of using good questions. She's done a lot of training in that. So whenever where I say everywhere that this and this and this and this, those are also good questions because what they do is they allow us to have more possibility. And remember, everything is possible.
My gosh.
Everything.
And just a reminder that if you ask a question, it doesn't have to be how to do this, right? It's almost like, you can put a question out on the chat, like what would be possible for even is a question. But think about like what questions, what questions or and I mean any questions are good questions, right? But we'd love to hear some of your questions so we can open up some of the frequencies for shift and change around this.
Joe said, I had my guides helping me formulate my questions lately.
That's cool.
That's the first thing we forget to ask. First of all, we forget to ask for help. And then we forget to ask for questions because we just want clarity, right? We might feel stuck in that way too. And again, I can't stress this enough. It's because we have free will here on Earth. It's the reason why we came in and we forgot. If we had all the answers, we wouldn't be having this experience. So but we have unlimited amounts of resources, and don't feel bad if you don't get the answer just right away, like it doesn't flood in, because you will receive. Like ask and it is given, ask it and it's given. It's in the Bible, it's everywhere. Esther Hicks wrote a book about it. You will receive the answer. Now, you can also ask that your guides give you the answers in very clear, distinct communication, because I've had those times where my guides finally were like, I was showing you signs all over the place, but you were just missing them. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So then I might create something where it really gets my attention. But really, you can ask your guides, will you please provide this in clear, concise communication that you and I can continue to communicate in and that I can understand. And they will work with you. Remember, I always come back to that. Esther Hicks was doing this with her nose, right? And now she's full on channeling for people in half the entire globe. So again, it will come through. You will get your answers. We do have guidance. But remember, we have to ask, and we have so much support.
Look at this reality. We try to be right all the time. How many times have you gotten like sick and you're like, oh, maybe your stomach hurts? Well, it must have been the chicken I ate at lunch, right? Like we don't like go into our body and go, hey, body, what's really going on here? It could be just like, you're in flight mode because of this email, right? Or you're in flight mode because you're trying to rush or whatever it is. And it had nothing to do with the food at all. And then now you're like on a track to see where you have to take this chicken or this herb out from like your whole diet. I'm allergic to garlic. It gave me a headache once. Right?
That's so true.
It's so real.
Yes. In fact, in lots of HHT sessions, when your subconscious is, so when your higher source connected, your self-higher connected to source is talking, a lot of times they'll, because they'll do a full body scan and they'll like, okay, but so she's having this issue. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with her stomach or something like that? Right. And then the body, I mean, they call it the subconscious, but it really is the higher self. And it's like, higher self is sitting there going, well, yeah, she's been ignoring herself for so long because she's stuck in that job and she keeps, recreating the job every time. So it's making her sick. And every time she walks in, she feels like she wants to throw up. It's not because, it was really funny. It was so funny and so spot on. And then, of course, you can ask for healing around that too, right? Around the confidence. And so she was feeling super nervous, but she was taking stuff out of her diet because exactly, right?
Well,
so then they go on this big tangent thinking that you're making yourself wrong and I'm eating all the wrong things. But she was making herself sick because she really was not
making herself sick.
Yes, exactly.
Or you have a pain in the neck and all you do is, oh, I got to go get a massage. I slept wrong. But what if you would actually go, hey, what is this? And your body would go, well, so and so in your life is being a pain in your neck.
Yes.
And then you have awareness in another level in a different way.
Yeah.
And you can look at that real pain in the neck instead of actually going and getting a massage or taking Advil or whatever you do.
And that's the other thing is that we'll start to do the medicine route where I'm taking pain reliever daily even.
Right. Instead of actually going into the body.
Or the body what's needed, and then knowing that you can address the person that's the pain in the neck or the issue that's the pain in the neck. Usually it's to address yourself.
Right.
But, yeah.
I mean, then it can work all over, you can have a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like literally.
So I had the other day, so I was having some knee stuff and we had one of our speakers on, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, she was talking about really talking to the knee because she was having a knee thing too. And she was moving and she said her knee was flaring up and she was like, all right, knee. She goes, I know you're flaring up and it's because we're making some moves here. But let me ask you, can you just hang on and be with me? I see you, I hear you, because normally our body is telling it, they're giving us signals. So that pain is telling you something about what's going on, usually not even to do with the body sometimes. And it has to do with everything about the situations you're in. And so what was happening is that she asked her knee what was really going on. And it was all around the insecurity that she would have, not the insecurity, but like the unsettling about moving from place to place. And so she was like, okay, knee, I hear you. I'm not going to take the pain reliever, but if I promise to sit down with you and love on you after we're done with this moving, we will address the idea of feeling secure in our new place. And then she said, lo and behold, her knee felt better. So I was there like blowing on my knee, like, okay, knee, what do you need from me? Like, and I was being kind of silly with it, right? Because I had just heard that. We had talked about
knees or needs.
Yeah, and so I asked it questions, and lo and behold, I have not had that pain come back. I mean, for a while. Like, so I just forgot about it actually. And so that's fascinating, right? I mean, we're beautiful, amazing, divine creatures.
And look, guys, this is a practice, right?
Yeah,
like we didn't just
100%.
wake up one day. I didn't wake up one day and it's like, wow, I think I can like help. I think I can help bodies on earth heal, right? It's funny, I had a game too much and I've got sometimes gamer's thumb, although it's been better since I've been like singing to my thumbs and I'll just be like, and for whatever reason, it's like it helps the inflammation, it makes it go down, and I also when I do heal with awesomeness, I am really truly just asking the body. I mean, there's nothing else other than an ask with it. It's like body, what's required here. Yeah. And that's asking mostly their body.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to say, Jeneth, are you asking their body? Yeah, is that how you get them to do all that cool jumping stuff? And it's neat.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of playing and asking their body.
Ooh. You forgot to read the cool part of Paula's her thing.
I know.
She said, I feel like you ladies are talking straight to all my queries today. Yes, ma'am, girl. And the reason why is because I know, like, just for a little while earlier, everything was kind of going crazy, right? Like all the different things.
Oh my gosh.
And we had a speaker on that couldn't, I mean, technology happens through technology,
whatever. But I was already a little flighty and now I'm fine.
Right? But so it has to be a choice, and where we can use their tools to get back to center, so that way we can have a different reaction to things, right? And a lot of people would have gotten frustrated, or they would have just been like, all right, guys, we cancel, blah, blah, blah. I see that all the time, especially in live television. Not that they would be canceling their show, but they'll put a different one on and you wouldn't know the difference.
Right.
But the thing here is that while you see this in real time, these are real things that we experience too, Paula. So we have to be able to pull these tools out. And let me tell you, all the questions leave me sometimes when I get flustered. Like all my tools leave. I'm like, what? And so it's being able to just like have a little bit of wherewithal, call them back in, ask your guides. I mean, you see me close my eyes a lot because that's when I allow spirit to really communicate through me or to reach me. So then I'll stop, and I mean, hey, I could be in a business meeting and start closing my eyes nowadays, and they'll be like, "What's wrong with this girl?" But that is, I don't care. This is how we get to have the responses that we most desire.
Yeah.
And how we create the life of our dreams is by doing this, really connecting in.
Yeah. When hypnosis, the act of just closing your eyes and going into your imagination, like you can literally say, I see a white flower. And that is the, as soon as you do that, and as soon as you can see it in your mind's eye, you have access to that alpha state.
Cool.
I love it.
And the thing is that we know now through scientific research, the brain doesn't know the difference between, what's this reality and what's the imagination reality. Right. So you can redesign what you really want in life through your imagination, and then you can have the universe meet you, or you can have, basically it's physics, meet you where you are with that other alternate reality that you put in your imagination. You just do that more often. The universe is like, yes, 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 I want you there. I'll meet you with that frequency. Right. Because we're magnetic that way.
Yeah.
Dana says, I'm actually releasing very dense energies from ancestral. Ancestral is another theme that's really coming up right now. And this at other lifetimes through my left foot chakra. Yes.
Oh, cool.
My divine feminine side couldn't walk right for 3 days. I mean, there's a lot of integration there. And I love the fact that you're willing to look at it. Even Dana's one of those that she's a badass. She's willing to look at it from what else is needed here and what might be something I haven't explored. Most people don't come out and say, I'm going to look at this from an ancestral place and look at it from my needing to be released on my right side chakra, like right foot chakra. Those are very specific things. She got to that place by, obviously she knows a little bit more about this work and she does her research, but she's really tuning in.
Yeah.
And now she can have allowance and grace for that.
Something for me.
Go ahead.
So in one of the classes that I had taken with Access Consciousness, I said, well, it's cool. They were just like, every single pain that you have in your body is an awareness. And so then, being a little facetious, I'm like, so if you go skiing, if you go skiing and you break a leg, right or left, well, do you still ask these questions, or do you actually do the human thing and just like go and get a cast and let it heal? And the answer was like, yes, you do both. You do the human thing and go ask for it to heal, but then you also ask questions like, hey, right leg or left leg, what was this about? And see if there were other things that come through. But it's usually you can just start with where do my hands need to go? What do they need? What do I need to ask for? And a lot of what and wheres are what I feel like I've learned and do. And it's really fun bringing it into all of your life, because you're like, what do I eat next? What do I want next?
Yeah.
And if you just go around life and going, what next? Then you become very intentional and very present. And sometimes you'll get an inkling like, ooh, I'd like to plant a flower, right? And then you're like, can get in some of the other elements and see beyond what is really just you planting a plant. And it becomes kind of this art of living, instead of also in clearing the noise, by the way, but it becomes kind of this art of living instead of this energetic, just like a task, energetic boredom.
Yeah.
That you've created yourself. And I find that the more I live in my life and playing with these frequencies, everything just becomes kind of a frequency and play. And when I notice that I'm doing a very human side of me, like this morning when I went into a little bit of flight, I'm like, I'm in my not me now, ignore me, right? And then I've got these tools to transition. I think that it's still just a practice.
That reminds me of like where it's amazing that you had that awareness, because I remember when I was kind of heavy, really like in my partying and like drinking days or whatever. I mean, I would stay in that not in me state for days, right?
Yeah,
You're just
well,
like in
I
this
probably did it
whatever,
younger,
right?
sure.
And I didn't know that I didn't know that I really needed to be in my body. I think there was a lot that I was wanting to look at the time. And I mean, literally there were parts, probably months in my life or whatever, or weekends, I'm not sure, but like where I was not willing to be there in my body. And so it was easier to just do that through like, partying and hanging out, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's really cool that you had that awareness that you're like, I'm not in my body right now.
Oh yeah, but I know it right away now.
Yeah, and you called it kind of like a very human thing. I don't think sometimes while we're having this conversation, I don't think sometimes people even know that having that to look for that, not being wanting to be in your body kind of thing. And usually we'll do that through drugs or whatever those escapisms are.
Yeah.
So you can stop, and even those things can be a place where you're asking self, what is it? Where am I not willing to be in my body?
I made an addiction hypnosis a while ago, and I played it for myself for a few months. Well, it was almost a month. Maybe it was almost a month. And then I was kind of like, well, I'm done. I don't really feel like I have an addiction anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have one to begin with, but now that you say that, I know that change happened because of that one.
Oh, cool. We'll go check it out.
So yeah, if you guys, even if you email me, it's actually in the How Hustle Shopify. It's called Marketplace.
Cool.
If you see that around during the summit,
we will have it out. Yeah.
So
there's a lot of resources.
Man, I didn't really realize that I did. Interesting.
You don't give yourself enough credit over there.
Sometimes.
I'm kidding. The other thing too is that during the summit, and I keep saying this too, make sure you get yourself signed up for even if you think that you're signed up on our newsletter, just go ahead and sign up again, because we've got the entire rewire will come as a gift. So you can listen to the full, I think it's 7 or 8 hours of that. I mean, it's just different speakers coming on and doing activations. We don't even interview them. They are doing their thing. There's dragon light energy. I mean, everybody's coming on and doing their thing. So you get that straight away as a gift. And then you're going to get all of the different emails each morning about who's going to be on for the lineup. So again, all the details will be there. You get your free gift. So make sure you sign up at www.houthustle.com. All of this really cool tools that we've learned, that we've picked up, that we share on the show. It's super, I don't want to say it's super important, but it's really how we can get back to kilter. And if you're really struggling, I highly advise you to at least sign up and get this from the replay.
Yeah.
Listen at your own leisure.
Yeah.
Right? Because, it may be a little bit tough to have some of this stuff be all inundated. I know it's a lot that we throw at you, and for a long time, it took me to take a piece, learn it, and integrate. And I had to do it kind of slowly, because for a long time, I didn't know if this stuff really worked for me. It worked for everybody else, not for me.
Well, yeah, I think might want to clear that one, man.
I was going to say.
Because I think that's all of us. Because the humanoids, they always think they're wrong.
Yeah.
So why would it work for you?
Yeah. Everywhere where you're making everything about this, it won't work for me. It works for everyone else. They get it. They can integrate it. It just doesn't work for me.
And it will never work for me. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't even know how to go and get it and understand.
Everything that is, we just try to create now. And take a deep breath. And let that energy dissipate. Yes. Let's do that again. Everywhere where all these beautiful magic experiences, gifts coming online, the energies, the learning, the receiving, everything that is, and anything that doesn't allow you to receive that or believe that you can receive that or that it's for you at all, everywhere where you're trying to put up that any kind of that, will you destroy and create that, please? And take a deep breath. There you go. Woo! My leg calves are all like
right,
flexed
dude,
up.
I just got a cool message. Jeez.
Man,
Ugh.
so we're gonna have a lot more of this fun on the summit. Everything starts, all the fun
Everything
on
starts
Monday.
Monday.
So for
Monday.
those who listen to us on the replay, you'll be able to join us live, and we encourage you to do so. Bring your questions. They're
Yeah.
ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Live, you can join it too. So of course, if you get the newsletter, then you'll get the Zoom link too. So
And let me just say this, if there's a speaker that you definitely want to ask a question to,
yes.
but you can't show up for their show,
Yeah.
write it in.
Yes.
In fact, I'll put that in the newsletter on Sunday.
Yes. And for those
how to write it in and everything.
It's at team@howthustle.com.
Yep. So have an amazing, amazing weekend, and we will see you on Monday all week.
Love ya.
Bye, everyone.